Hello. Thank you very, very much, Travis, for this opportunity to be here. I'm really, really excited to do this with you in AGC. And I want to welcome and thank everybody for making the time to join us today. So basically, I just have 15 minutes. I have a lot to say, so I have to start right away. But I wanted to take an opportunity to tell you about the work that I have been doing for the past few years on emotional intelligence and human-centered abilities. So, like Travis was saying earlier, I read, I study, I speak, I write, and I conduct training on emotional intelligence. You can tell that I have a passion for it. And I really do believe that these can help you make be more effective if you have a business, if you work for company, if you no matter what you do, if you're an entrepreneur, learning human-centered abilities will actually make you more effective. So I have multiple trainings that I give with Laurie Creever, my colleague who may be tuning in on the webinar tonight. And we actually train hundreds of business executives, business professionals, and entrepreneurs. And what I did was I took a few of the slides from multiple of our trainings. Every module is 2 hours, but we only have, about 15 minutes today. So I just took a few slides to tell you a little bit about emotional intelligence, human-centered abilities, so you get a taste, you get a feel for how this training works, so that hopefully you are interested, engaged, and you want to follow up and go through these trainings. So with that, I'd like to talk to you about how we can use human-centered abilities to improve your results. So let's go to the first slide. And what I'd like to do today is I'm going to talk to you about empathy. I actually posted a question on empathy on the Facebook group. Some of you answered it. But it is about whether empathy is a strength or a weakness. And, people have different thoughts on whether it's a strength or it's a weakness. The last time I checked, about 17 people have answered that it was a strength. And I think one person had answered that it was a weakness. But, many people, when we do these trainings, we ask people about what empathy is, and they give us all kinds of definition, multiple definitions. But the one that I hear the most is that empathy is about walking in somebody else's shoes. And yes, it is what it is, walking in somebody else's shoes. Well, what people don't always realize is that when you walk in somebody else's shoes, it's also about seeing with that person's eyes. It's about hearing with that person's ears. It's about feeling with that person's heart. It's about believing in what that person believes, and it's about being interested in what that person is interested in. So it's being interested in somebody else's something, even if that is not connected to your own world. So I want to show you here, Travis, you can go to the next slide. I want to show you this is the longest definition that you will ever see about empathy. Is really, really long, but I'm actually, I think, if you can see there on your screen, but I'm going to read it for everyone. But it basically says that empathy is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another, either in the past or present, without having those feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in an objectively explicit manner, right? So at the end of this tech talk, I want to do a test to see if you memorize that. No, but this is a definition from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and it's very long, but it's actually very effective, and I like it a lot because and I have here's a summary version. It's much smaller, but it's basically to feel in union with another person, even if that person doesn't provide to you all of the details, and very importantly, regardless of whether reflect your own situation or not, right? One of the examples that I use, when we do this training live with Laurie Creever is, think of two people. One person says to the other, "Oh, I'm cold," and the other person answers, "No, it's warm." No, no, no. Hold on a second. I'm not talking about how it is. I'm talking about how I am. It may be warm, but I am cold. because I don't need for it to be called for me to be called. I can be independently called because the reason why I'm called is because maybe I'm freaking out with a problem that I have at work. Maybe I'm having a situation at home with my spouse, with my kid that is making me very nervous. And because of that, I am called, or maybe I'm sick and I am cold, even though it's very warm outside. So empathy is the ability to then accept and recognize what somebody is feeling independently of what you yourself are feeling. And the interesting thing is that so if you go to the next slide, you go to the next slide, Travis. Okay, so okay, so we'll stop there. So what I'm going to do here today is talk about the fact of using empathy as a gift, because empathy is actually when you develop the ability to have a higher level of empathy, you can open a drawer and then you're going to take your own world, your own universe, your own agenda, the things that matter to you, your interests, everything, and you're going to put it in that drawer. You're going to close the drawer and you're going to concentrate on the person that is right in front of you, so that then you can really pay attention and not concentrating all about your world. If you can go to the next step, next slide, Travis. So in one of the training modules that we have, it's a 2-hour module. We have 5 tips, and because we don't have that kind of time today, I just took one of the 5 tips, and I want to share it with you as a gift today. And I actually share an article on the Facebook page that you can read it that talks about tip number one. It has the other 4 tips as well. But tip number one is it's not about you. And it cannot always be about you. It can be about you if it's your birthday, if you're getting married, if you're having a child. It may be about you, but it cannot always be about you. And the reason why that is important is because if we think about the way that our brain works, is our brain has a process that is called fast brain, where it's always looking for connections, and then it's looking to connect it with your own universe. So when somebody's talking to you, if somebody says, "Hey, you know that my son is studying at the University of Chicago," when your brain hears Chicago, then it goes in automatic pilot and looks for that file in your brain that has Chicago, and then it's called an activator. So it activates, you get all very happy and excited because all of a sudden, what that person is telling you connect with something inside of you in your own world and universe that is that because it's important to you because it's your own world. Now you are all excited and you react to it. Oh, Chicago! Did you know that I studied in Chicago? I went to the University of Chicago. In fact, my brother still lives in Chicago. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I went to see my brother in Chicago, and we went to the game. And after the game, we went to this bar and blah blah blah. And then forget it. The person won't be able to tell you the story because your brain is activating with those activators that then doesn't allow for you to actually pay attention to that other person's situation because you're so into your world. But tip number one is that it's not about you. So you need to learn to suppress those activators so you can stay with the person that is right in front of you. So if you go to the next slide, because people are so into their world, this is an email that I get all the time. About twice a week, I get this very same email. Sometimes a word here or there is different, but it's a template. I don't know if they find this template on Google or something, but they all use this template to send me this email. And the email, I'm gonna read it here for all of you in case the type is too small. But it goes something like this. Hi, Luis. Long time no talk. I'm sorry that I have missed all of your notes. I've missed your invites to your events. I would love to have lunch or coffee with you soon. How is your calendar for this week? You have any time today or tomorrow? So in this case, the reason why this happens is because, before when I was contacting the person and all that, obviously the person, was not interested because it was my interest, my situation. And then, the person was busy, doing well. And then all of a sudden, something in that person's world changes where now it is necessary for they to have lunch with me or to see me, right? Because now they're seeing it from a point of view of their own world and their own universe. So then with empathy, you can change that so that it's not about you. So I'm going to share a quick story, and I actually share this story in the Facebook group so you can look it up and read it. But this is basically when back in 2008, when I was working at General Mills, I had a friend that sent me a note, say, "Hey, Luis, I'd love to have lunch with you. If we can go to the next slide, Travis, if I can have lunch with you." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'll have lunch with you," because this was a great person that I had gone to business school with. And he was always, a very impressive person. And so, I say yes. I go to pick him up at the lobby of the company, and he's looking sharp, very well dressed. And I'm thinking, wow, yeah, he needs me to help him to get a job. It's going to be easy because he looks great. It's easy to, he's going to do great in interviews. And when we sat down and he's talking to me, he's all fired up, very excited, very engaging. And he's engaged and engaging. He's energized. He's telling me fascinating stories. I'm so like, he's making my day. I'm feeling great. And I said to myself, absolutely, I'm going to help this guy get a job because, he's just very engaging, very fascinating, and people, anybody will give him a job. So I'm just waiting for him to give me the line, "Hey, Luis, I need a job." And I'm just waiting, 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 and the line doesn't come. It's 1 p.m., time is up. He doesn't ask me. I'm thinking, well, maybe as we walk to the lobby for the farewell, he's going to drop the note there, drop the line. He doesn't. And I said, well, maybe in the thank you note, he's going to drop me the line. I get his thank you note, very nice thank you note. Nowhere it says I need a job. And then I finally realized and I understood it. He didn't ask me for a job because he didn't need a job. And the reason why he was asking to have lunch with me was because he has a high level of empathy. So he was interested in my world. He came to ask me about how I was doing. He came to ask me if I needed any help. Himself did not need any help because that is what people who have high levels of empathy do. So one of the things I'm going to do in the very few minutes that I have to close our meeting today, my talk today, is I want to share with you one of the models that we use in one of our trainings, and this is called the dusting model that Laurie and I use. And if we can go to the next slide, Travis. So this is the dusting model, and you have it. I actually posted on the Facebook group so you can look for it. But this is a very, very practical model I recommend that you use. So when you go out to do networking, first is detect, right? Then the second one is understand, then sharing timely and intentionally. How does that work? Let's suppose that I run into a friend and say, "Hey, how you doing?" "Well, I'm coming with my dad. We were at the hospital. The doctor said that he has cancer, so he's gonna. The doctor said that he would die in 3 months. But my dad is a very strong man. He's a very positive guy. I think he's gonna survive that. He's gonna be here with us for many years." A person who has a low level of empathy and doesn't use models like the Dustin model would react with something like this. "Oh, and what clinic did what clinic did you guys go to?" Well, we went to the Mayo Clinic." "Oh, the Mayo Clinic. No, no, no. Those guys are really, really good. So if they told you 3 months, man, you better just kind of get ready because 3 months is going to be 3 months." In fact, I have a friend who owns a funerary home, for funeral services. So happy to, give you the phone number so that you give them a call because you're going to need the funeral home very quickly, right? So that's what you do when you have a low level of empathy. But when you use a model like the Dusting model, the D would be detect. What is the experience, sentiment, or emotion that the person is going through? In this case, is hope. The person is hoping that what the doctor said won't happen, right? And then you understand. Yeah, you got to understand it. That's the person's dad. That's one of the most important people in somebody's life. So yeah, I gotta believe and understand the reason why the person is being, hopeful, and then sharing timely, which is, you join in the feeling. If the feeling is hope, you respond with hope. Or you say, "Wow, yes, if your dad is a strong person, he's going to survive. Absolutely, I'm sure about that." And then with intentionality is that you follow up with a specific action and you say, "Oh, and that's your dad. What kind of thing does your dad like? Does he like to see shows? Does he like to watch a movie? Is there a book that he would, does he like to read book? Is there a restaurant? Is there a kind of food that he would like? Because, I love to take you guys. I mean, what are you doing this Sunday? Love to invite you so that we go together and do something," right? So then you follow up with intentionality with very specific action. So this is just an example, and obviously I'm just running through it in 1 minute. We usually take, obviously more time in our training to go to this model, but obviously in this little time, I just wanted to at least introduce it to you. So basically, in conclusion, as we run out of time, what I want to encourage you is to know that if you leverage your human-centered abilities and you interact with other people, with more humanity using this kind of training and these modules, you're going to be more successful. So with that, we go to the last slide there, Travis. And then, so give the gift of empathy, which is the gift of giving people, their time, giving the moment, is putting your own situation on pause for a second. Remember, put it in a drawer so that you can give the person in front of you, your colleagues, your reports, your customers, vendors, relatives, friends, strangers, anybody. You give them the gift of understanding, time, friendship, compassion, support, and the gift of being present while they're talking to you, so that you don't trigger and you don't activate to go into your own world, but you stay with the person in front of you. So with that, I want to thank you for making the time to be with us here today. We're going to have about 15 minutes for Q&A, so happy to get your questions. Thank you, Travis. Thanks for the opportunity.